Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here. We are in the Caprice, however you want to say it, the British Fantasque. We already did a stats overview of the two new ships, which should be available tomorrow in the store for 17,500 doubloons apiece, as well as with their respective commanders, which are kind of geared towards each of these ships. We will be going over the stats of the ship as well at the end, on top of a little commander overview. And I'm going to be completely honest, this is not the most exciting game in this ship, but it gives you an accurate representation of this ship. I think this ship is actually very dangerous. It's a very good ship, but it just it's a Fantasque with British capabilities, and it mixes all right, but it's not. It's kind of like a redheaded stepchild. It can be very good, but it can be very good in the state of Alabama, but in other states it may not be the best. We are running a rather unique build. I'll go ahead and throw that up on the screen. And actually, for this game, I did not have a second inspiration, so you guys can LOL in the comments down below. One thing also to note about this ship is the torpedo launches. You can have widespread or single fire, and the British widespread is kind of like a moderate spread, whereas this widespread, as you can see, is not the most effective. So something just to keep in mind. We go ahead and get in the cap here. We popped our hydro, and it is the British short range and long duration hydro. So a very useful hydro. I like that a little bit better than some of the other ones per se, just with their shorter time, because you can pop this in the cap and then you still have utility, as opposed to determining whether or not to save it. For the Z23, for example, sometimes if you pop it early, you don't have it later in the game, or if you pop it too late, you take a torp, etc. We do have a lot of ships on this side, and I will go over the strategy in this game. And I'm going to be honest, I maybe don't play the beginning of this game. I was still figuring out this ship. Like I said, it's kind of, I'm playing it like a British destroyer, but I'm not utilizing the speed of the French, which is kind of this ship. So like we said, just a mesh of two destroyers here, or a French destroyer with British traits. But anyway, we do end up no clickbait with a Solo Warrior in this game. And I want to talk about that briefly as this Jervis pops up here and we do shoot. You have a lot more utility with your short duration smokes, which is why you'll kind of see me playing with a throttle here. And I knew that those shots were going to go into the island, but sometimes with how the gun view works, you can get certain guns on either the front or the back of a ship to clear the island, which I think is what I was describing in the stream on stream there. And as you can see, the narrow spread versus, or the wide spread versus the single fire is, I don't know how I feel about that. I played 5 or so games in this ship and had some pretty good results, but also I was playing it more like a British destroyer, and I was taking some salvos. I guess the time to stop is also a problem, given that you're going, 42 knots top speed, and sometimes you'll even run out of your smoke. So I do take some damaging salvos throughout this game. But back to the point I was making earlier about the Solo Warrior. Solo Warrior medals are one of the toughest to get in this game, and I will go over it a little bit more at the end and the strategy behind it. But play smarter, read the mini-map, and get the capture point, which is why I'm a huge advocate for domination. Domination promotes smarter gameplay and more opportunities to win when your team just throws their ship away, which is notably what my team did at the end here. But in the beginning, you can see they actually do an excellent job of getting flanks, getting the capture points early on. Now, something could be said for not, suiciding your ship after, getting those capture points, but they did an excellent job of getting those capture points. I think we had a triple Bismarck division with people that I've seen before. So, nothing wrung with having a little fun as long as you play, semi-correct way as we get a torpedo hit. And if you notice in this game, I don't have that much damage up until the end, and that's fine. Your job in a destroyer is not damage. We are playing the long game here. We have taken minimal damage while taking, sneaky shots at different ships, utilizing the utility that this ship has with that short, your smoke and hydro there. It would have been silly to push into that Jervis and Fletcher combination with the Suzuya and Richelieu support, considering we only had another destroyer who was kind of, donating his ship, as well as a cruiser kind of isolated by the island there, so he would be not able to shoot at any ships on the far side of the cap. But our team is managing or balancing out the game here by giving them a few ships. So we're, again, just thinking about getting that capture point. But back to the point I had about Solo Warriors. It's really a product of your environment and just paying attention to the scoreboard. I will point out the point in time, and I will actually, I think, include the audio from the stream if I still have it. I think I deleted the track, but I literally look at the scoreboard and I said, I'm going to get a Solo Warrior. And I did that with the Montana game, and we actually have, I think I have 26 Solo Warrior medals. So again, it's more of a product of your environment as this Jervis pops up here. So we're going to take a few shots at him and then get out of the area. The guns on this ship are pretty good, but they do have a slower base reload than the Fantasque, and without that reload booster that you have to switch for your smoke, it is challenging to win certain gunfights with other gunboat destroyers. Fletcher, or I guess even Jervis is technically a gunboat. But we got that Jervis off the cap, and that Suzuya, I think our teammate did finish that Suzuya, so we are now working our way back. We do have Perceptive here, so we are able to know where the Fletcher is. And we did turn our Hydro back on, despite, I think, seeing torps from either, I forget where the torps were. I'm watching this back for the second time now. But anyway, we're going to be working our way into the cap. As you can see, our team is about tied on ships. We are tied on ships right now, but we do have a destroyer advantage, which, honestly, if you have a destroyer advantage at this point in the game, you should never lose the game, especially in domination. Destroyers are so vital, which is why I just, complain or emphasize so much on shooting them. So again, we talk about that widespread. The Fletcher's coming in here, and we did throw torps at the Perceptive, but with the widespread, we actually missed. And it's more so luck. That's why I zone torp, and that's why my torpedo accuracy is not the best. But we do take one of those salvos I was talking about, so fair play to that Richelieu. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I can't get detected anymore. He took a good chunk of my health. That Fletcher will take more. So we have our Hydro running. We're just waiting for him to either come into that range, and in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and back up and run away. A lot of people just let their ego get in the way, and they think that they have to play like some ultra man or something, which will get them the victory even harder. But as we mentioned, we were turning around, and that we can see on Perceptive that the Fletcher is somewhere over there in the cap. As you can tell by the cap starting to tick towards the red, there are his torps. So we have the Hydro coming in useful. And I think a teammate took a shot at him. We go ahead and throw a set just in case. We want to go dark, but we are at a health advantage, and we're going to go ahead and angle out to try and reduce the amount of hits taken. As you can see, he kind of missed a few there, and I think this ship actually gets the kill, yeah. So shout out to the Weimar for shooting at destroyers, really the only target he could shoot at. But that is all destroyers down. So, at this point in the game, we're up 400 points. And I'm just looking at the board, and I'm like, this is a rather average game, and it honestly is. But by just reading the situation, and I'm actually making a video about top 3 reasons why people lose, and one of them is not looking at the points, not looking at the mini-map, and not just reading the game flow. So game flow right now, there's only 4 battleships left in the game. I should never be spotted again for the rest of my existence. You do have good torpedoes. Now the reload is a little bit longer than the Fantasque, but unless I decide to shoot my guns for some reason, I should never be detected again. So you can see that this Weimar has low health, and the Richelieu says, please exit the game. So now there are just 2 destroyers left. But because of the capture point advantage that we have, we are up heavily in this game. So I'm trying to get in torpedo range, but I'm also going to secure this 3rd cap. Some people might not think that it's important, but trust me, towards the end of the game, it becomes very important. The reason is we don't really have a good defense. Now, we do have 2 smoke screens left to try and reset the cap as this Richelieu goes into the cap, and I honestly probably should have saved a smoke screen for a final engagement here, but the Richelieu is in the cap, and I guess I wasn't paying attention. Like I said, this is my first game back from the vacation and things like that, so I should have been spotting for this Akizuki, but regardless of that, we're getting the cap, and we're trying to, in my mind, I was trying to reset him, but the Akizuki's in the cap, so he's not ticking any capture points anyway. But he is blocking our capture points. We do have C and A will be ticking soon, but we want to be getting as many of these caps and capture points as we can. So talking about game flow and just playing smarter, this Akizuki, while he is a gunboat, he should never be spotted again. He does have a lot of health, and I don't mind taking a few salvos, but as soon as you go below half health, especially in destroyer, let's say the Udachi, you want to have at least 10,000 health to play with. So we have even less than that. So I'm not really going to shoot again unless the situation absolutely requires it. This Akizuki does hit a torp, and he is gunning him down. We are spotting for him now. But again, talking about game flow, this Akizuki should be gone. There should be no reason he's spotted. Why risk it? Why put yourself in this situation to get killed? Now, the Richelieu is making a smart play. He is pushing his smoke screen. If he has RGA mod, he will be able to see the Akizuki at 2.9 or 3 kilometers there, and he sees him. Now, like I said, the Akizuki is doing a great job, but if the other battleships see them, he's spotted, so they're going to see him, and they're going to shoot at him, and they're going to kill him. So I think the Richelieu turned and got another salvo, and the Akizuki actually goes down here, leaving me in a 4-on-1 situation. So again, I think I said it in the stream at this point, I'm going to get a Solo Warrior. Why? Because we have the capture points, we have the point advantage. Now, something that I do want to pay attention to is, can they tick these capture points fast enough? So the Richelieu actually went, no, I don't think he goes down just yet. He's in the smoke of the Akizuki, but the Akizuki actually had him on a permanent fire, which does help tremendously. So while the Akizuki didn't make the absolute best play, he still did enough things to help his team. The reason is being that is approximately 100-point swing with a battleship on the enemy team going down. I think they lose 60 and we gain 40. So now we're up 60 points here. 200, my math is 270 points here, approximately. So what am I doing? I'm going to torp and run. There should be no reason I am ever spotted again. And that is honestly the end of the game. I will speed this up here. You guys don't need to watch this, but this is Solo Warrior number 26. A few of them I have got in arena, but most of them had just been playing smarter like this. And so if you want more Solo Warriors, or want your first Solo Warrior, just read the map, play smarter, and you have to get kind of one of these lucky situations where your team gets the capture points and then dies. But I've seen Solo Warriors blown because Kageros have decided to shoot their guns and they die. The only way the enemy team can really win right now is if they kill me, and that is kind of the game. So final talking points here. You notice we did very minimal. We won our side. We got the capture point, and our friendlies got the other capture points. But we also just finished the game as we kind of cheese a little bit of damage here. We only had 36,000 damage up until that point, so not a damage hungry game at all. But that's why, like in my daring video, despite me saying it and putting it in the description, people are like, well, it's not about farming damage and stuff. Like, I'm vastly aware, and this is a great example of that. So we get a few more torpedo hits here as these battleships chase me, but again, I'm nowhere close to detected, and with the torpedoes that this ship provides, you can easily torp from range as one of the enemy battleships actually gets a decent blind fire. But that is the game, guys. I will go ahead and go over the stats to the ship once again and our commander at the commander we were running at this game. All right, so as you can see, we are running Miss Davis here without a second inspiration, as I told you guys earlier on. So a little bit even more impressive of a game, but no. We are running torpedo speed, concealment without the sacrifice of health, perceptive, and then the smoke perk. I'm not sure, like I said, this ship is really a redheaded stepchild, and this is just the build I was running with the new commander. I'm sure everyone's going to be like, yeah, this build actually has 7% fire chance. So I'm sure, like I said, there are going to be other builds. I don't invest too much into my builds because at the end of the day, it's more so people like have very specific mindsets like, oh, I have an AP build and all this stuff. And I think that general builds like DPM, like you're always shooting your guns, you're always torpedoing, you're always, using concealment, things like that, are a little bit better use of my builds. So I don't I don't spec too much into my builds, but this is the new commander and the specific build I was running for this game. All right, and finally we have the stats here, 18,500. It's a good chunk. It's not, on the higher end, but it's enough to play with. Same guns as the Fantasque, but a slower base reload. We are running reload in the 4th module slot to help improve that. Pretty good torpedoes, a little more reload time for, I think, slightly more base range. I think the upgraded torpedoes on the Fantasque are better. A decent AA suite, but again, you won't be, getting any clear skies unless, you really get focused. Pretty good top speed, 42 knots with a decent turning circle and a better rudder shift than the base Fantasque, as well as a slightly better base concealment at 6.6 there. That is where you can swap the main battery reload booster for the smoke, and I actually don't go over it in this video, same as my stats one, that you can swap the engine boost consumable for the British Hydro. So like we said, a red-headed stepchild of a destroyer, a pretty good overall ship if you guys want to buy it. In my opinion, I would buy this over the La Foudre, in a heartbeat. I really don't like that ship. It's a knockoff John Bart. We already talked about that, though. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, AA run out. Peace.